here's the analogous picture of the one you just saw before. All right, remember lateral gray horns of the spinal cord segments T1 through L2, thoracic lumbar. That's the origin of the sympathetic nervous system. Don't worry about all these things yet, the sympathetic chain ganglion, the collateral ganglion, we'll get all of that in just a second. Anyway, so the fibers go out of the cord, they go through some sort of ganglionic connection, and then they go out to the target organs. Target organs, visceral effectors in the thoracic cavity, head, body wall, and limbs, abdominal pelvic cavity, organs and systems throughout the body. Just a short way or a long way of saying the sympathetic nervous system really kind of goes everywhere. And we'll worry about the names of these ganglia in just a minute. But just remember, it innervates all the organs as well. And the origin is thoracic lumbar spine. All right, now, T1, L2. Exit via the ventral root. Right? You know what the ventral root is, the spinal cord. Exits via the ventral root. And then they're going to this relay. Right? And the relay occurs in the ganglia. So it says the axons exit and run through the ventral root of the spinal cord, heading towards a synapse with a second neuron in the relay, and that happens in the ganglia. Now, where are the ganglia located? All right, there are two locations. The first one, and the most common one, and the one that's easiest for us to learn, is called the sympathetic chain ganglia. And I can show you where it is in that chart. Well, I'll show you where it is on the picture. And the sympathetic chain ganglia are located very close to the spinal cord. But again, don't confuse them with the dorsal root ganglia because they're not the same. So the sympathetic chain ganglia are located very near the spinal cord. And the other name for them, although I hardly ever use this name, are P-A-R-A, vertebral ganglia. I just like sympathetic chain ganglia because I can remember it. So that's where one of the relays can occur. The other ones occur in something called collateral ganglia, which are also called pre-vertebral ganglia, which I never use that term, rarely do, that are, it says anterior to the spinal cord. What that means is this. If this is the spinal cord, these collateral ganglia, because the spinal cord is along the dorsal part of your body, you know, it is the dorsal body cavity. Anyway, means these ganglia are like here, towards the front, anterior to the cord. There's three of them. They're on that chart over there. They'll come up for discussion here in just a minute. So these are where the relays occur. It's a little more complicated, but it ain't that bad. Just remember this. So this is the sympathetic division. So it's either going to occur in these ganglia close to the cord or ganglia located towards the front of the body, anterior to the cord. Now, all of these functions, all of these functions, if you look at it, think about flight or flee. Increased alertness, yeah. Okay, got that. Feeling of energy and euphoria, yeah, got that. Often associated, and I got this out of the book, oh, that's pretty cool, often associated with disregard for danger and insensitivity to pain. This is the stuff where you do it and later go, how did I do that? And man, I didn't even realize when I did that, you know, I ended up breaking my arm or something like that. I mean, that opposite thing. So, you know, really highly stressful. Increased activity in the cardiovascular and respiratory centers. Yeah, if you're fighting or fleeing, absolutely. Increased blood pressure, increased heart rate, increased breathing rate. All these things are associated with stress. Elevated muscle tone. You know, when they pried me out from behind the wheel of that car, I bet I looked tense, right? I've got a picture of me somewhere where I'm actually smiling. They took the picture, I think it was before I got in the car, but it's not that much of a smile. You can tell that I'm smiling because they told me to try to smile, right? And particularly after a really stressful sympathetic episode, you've mobilized a lot of energy reserves. You might later almost feel hungry. You do, right? You do feel hungry, but it's not immediate. Like we were talking the other day in here, something I said that, oh, I know what I said. I did something really stupid. I've done a lot of things really stupid, but many years ago when I lived in Phoenix, I decided I was going to run a marathon. Well, that was a mistake. That's a sympathetic event, right? fleeing the entire day, right? And afterwards, after like an hour, after the race is over, then you know what, I actually kind of feel hungry. Because you haven't eaten anything for the last 4 hours. But right after you finish, if somebody offers you a Big Mac or a double-double or something like that, it's like, no thanks, right? Because you probably couldn't keep it down because you're still so sympathetic, right? So you're mobilizing energy reserves, and you'll have to eat later, right? But not immediately, even though you've expended 1 billion calories. That's why people don't understand. It's like, well, you're running a marathon. Why don't you just like stop and get something to eat and remobilize your energy reserves? It's like, because you can't. I mean, you could, but you wouldn't want to sit down. I guarantee you that if a marathon course went by the Otay Ranch In-N-Out Burger, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't see people going, oh great, I'm going to run in and get an In-N-Out Burger. It's not going to work, okay? Maybe later. I don't think they'd have a long line like that. My brother came out one year. He'd never been to In-N-Out Burger.